Champions League winner and head coach of the Portland Timbers, is joining us. Can you hear us, Phil?
No, I can't. I can't hear you.
Phil, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see you.
Last time we had you, last time I saw you, actually, you were a TV guy. You're technically like my coworker. On a scale of 1 to 10, Phil, how much are you missing TV commentary life?
Do you know, I miss the trips to New York and the walk around Fifth Avenue and a few beers after the show. But I've got to say, I prefer to be on the bench than in the studio with you, Gillian. That's for sure.
Fair. That's fair enough. Well, thanks for coming back. We appreciate it, Phil.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Phil. Should we call you Gaffer? What should we call you? Phil's good or Gaffer? I feel like I have to call you. Well, Gaffer, I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you what everybody asks me. What do you see? What are the big differences between here in MLS and England?
Do you know, I think when I arrived here 3 years ago, I'd say that the differences were pretty big. I think the gap is definitely closing. The professionalism, the sports science, the quality. Somebody asked me the other day, I think it was Diego Valeri, it said about, I think the coaching is improving in terms of the tactics, the style of play. Every game now is a different challenge against a different style, against a different system. The playing definitely has improved. The facilities are equally as good as back in Europe. The coverage, praising you guys, I think the Apple coverage has changed the dynamics of MLS football for sure. The coverage and the exposure that you guys are giving us now is brilliant. So I think the league is in a really good place.
Phil, I feel like I would have loved playing for you because, I don't know, maybe you would have called me the best number 6 in the league, even if I wasn't very good. We've seen you talk about David Ayala as one of the best young players in the league, one of the best 6s in the league. And also David Da Costa has come in and you've described him as one of the best 10s in the league. I'm just curious, is that something that you do to build up your players' confidence? I don't doubt that you actually really believe that because they are wonderful players. But they're very strong statements. And I just wonder if it's more for, your own team to kind of rally around the fact that you have so much confidence in them.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, Dax, to be honest. I did it last season with Evander. Bradley will tell you. I mean, Bradley spoke really well about Evander at the start of the season. Nobody really spoke about him because of his first year. And I started working with him and I thought it was twofold. I believed it, but I needed him to believe it a little bit more, that he had somebody that really sort of like believed in him. And I'm, with Ayala at this moment in time, his performances has been really good. He's a young player that needs more confidence in himself. He needs to trust himself. He needs to own that level that I'm talking about. Da Costa too. And it's a little bit of motivating my own players, believing in my own players, giving them the confidence that they've got a manager that really, really believes in them to take the next step. Somebody like Da Costa, we know he's going to be a good player in this league, but there's a couple of more levels he needs to go at. Scoring goals is one, winning games on his own is another. And I felt with Evander last season, that was the one that he almost had to sort of like back up my words with performances. And to be fair to him, he did. And he took the next step. He was nearly an MVP. He's obviously gone to Cincy now, and his status within the league is really good. So it's a motivational tool for my players, but it's also to tell my players that I really believe in them. We're Portland, we're up in the Northeast, and I want people to see how good of players we've got up here as well. So it's a little bit of twofold, really.
Phil, is there a manager you had that you took that from that made you get up for big games like that?
I've got to say, David Moyes would have never said that publicly. I think he called me the worst midfield player in the league in the motivation one game. But I think Sir Alex was really good at sort of like selling his own players, believing in his own players, and having the courage to go out there and telling the world that his players were as good as the others in the league. So I'd say that probably Sir Alex had that real confidence, and I think that rubbed off on the players that we had at that time.
It's a smart way to put needed pressure on players. It's smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Phil, you of course, Dax is going to start talking about the sixes, but I want to ask you about the attack here. And you have a number of options: 3 players with 5 goals, and then you mentioned DaCosta as well with his, I think, 10 goal contributions already. But you started the season off flying, right? You were winning games 4-2, 3-3, and then as of late, it's been much more of winning 1-0 matches. Is that actually a positive for you, or do you feel like you need to get back to scoring more goals in the attack?
Well, I think the period where we scored the 4s and the 2s, teams probably hadn't worked us out a little bit in terms of sort of like we had so much speed up front. We were really good on the counter attack. Anthony, DaCosta, Santi Moreno, Kelsey, real high level top speed players. And then we hit a patch in May where we went to a few clubs and they sat off us. And I think our forward players found it a little bit difficult. Against Colorado, they did the same. But because we got used to playing against more of a low block, we started to find other solutions. So I think it's been great for their development to see different teams playing different styles against us, not giving us as much space in behind, not pressing us as much high up the field. So I think it's been great. We've got a really young team. Anthony's 22, DaCosta's 23, Santi's only just turned 23, Fori 22, Ayala 20, Sermon 21, I think now. So we've got players that are actually learning on the job. You cannot take them out of the team because they're playing that well at the moment, but they're just learning how to, 1, play in this league, 2, manage the expectations, and 3, sort of like manage different types of scenarios within football. And it's been really good seeing how they develop. Somebody like Anthony has really had to develop his game from, being a counter-attack type player to now having to probably take the ball under pressure with 2-3 men around him, knowing when to pass, knowing when to run. And I think that's been brilliant for us, really.
Phil,
Phil.
Sorry, Daxie. You've chopped and changed the 9s, and more often than not, it's worked. You'll go with Mora one week and Kelsey another week. And I'm sitting back in studio. I'm like, I wonder why. But then that player will score a goal. And what is what makes that decision? Is it training or is it just how you feel?
Would you ever like that, Bradley?
I'd have lost my mind.
He would have hated it.
I'd have lost my mind.
Pipe Mora was in my office last week and he said, "Boss, we're like what's happening?" but you know what? I think I've been lucky so far that. Pipe scored 2. He was in the team of the week, and I left him out. Then Kelsey got in, scored 2, and then he was in the team of the week. So it's just been working out really good. I think there'll become a time when I've got to pick one, but this moment in time, Moore at home is really good. Kelsey away is really good. So I think it's working out really good at this moment in time. There becomes a time when you've got to sort of like pick your number 9, but last year we played Pipe Mora in every single game, and by the time we got to the last 3 weeks of the season, he was the sponge was empty. So yeah. I think we've got to make sure that we are fresh come the end of the season for the push, and we've got 2 strikers that they both want to play together. When they come to my office, they say, "Can we not just play 4-4-2 and we both play together?" So. Strikers are selfish, Bradley.
Exactly. That's what I've been thinking.
The most selfish.
Yeah,
Phil,
yeah.
I want to take it to the other side of the field because there was a guy you mentioned, one guy that I think is a written in pen starter for every game for you, Finn Sermon. So it's kind of a 2-part question, and I hope you can stick with me because there were rumors kind of abound that my old Nashville SC boss and fellow Englishman for you, Gary Smith, had kind of come in and around preseason. And I just am curious about what your relationship was like with Gary. I know you guys struggled a lot defensively last year. If it was more of a, hey, Gary, let me just kind of pick your brain on how you see us being able to improve defensively. Or if it was just, 2 Englishmen, having an English breakfast, having a tea. Well, could be that. I don't know. But also kind of speak to Finn Sermon's development throughout the season.
Yeah, well, I mean, on Gary, he's obviously a friend who I've respected. Since I came to the MLS, he's been brilliant support and for me in terms of sort of like him helping. And he was down in Coachella in pre-season. I told him to come and watch a couple of the games. He gives some really good feedback. We met for lunch. I speak to him quite regularly. You played for Gary. Defensive structure, defensive mentality, never say guy. Obviously, we've got Eric Miller here who was in that team, So I wanted to pick his brains because we all have this idealistic approach to football that we want to play the beautiful game. But what I've learned is that, the most successful teams. I looked at LAFC last year. At the end of the season, they went to sort of like 5-4-1, hard to beat, clean sheet mentality. Seattle have the same mentality. Is that, clean sheets are going to be really important. In the last 2 seasons, we've conceded over 60 goals. That's not going to win you any type of playoff game. So I think he was just probably really strong on doing the basics really well, being pragmatic at times, making sure that you're in games for as long as possible. And I think with somebody like Finn Sermon, I think Finn Sermon would be sort of like a Gary Smith ideal centre-back. Loves to defend, loves his crosses, likes getting his nose, broke, and he just loves defending. He's a throwback to the old type defender. So he's been fantastic. I think he's an all-star. I really do. I know that's another bullshit comment, but I honestly think he is up there with some of the best centre-backs in the league. I don't see many better than his in terms of his consistency of his performances.
Let's get to a couple of the fan questions too. All right, Phil, is that all right? We're going to throw it out to the people. So don't shoot the messenger, okay? All right. This one's good. Jace Brook. Besides Portland, can you give us your best and you don't have to answer this one if you don't want to, and your least favorite stadium to coach in?
Oof. Well, we went up to Seattle and we played on the old Seattle pitch was Starfire, I think it's called. The pitch was terrible. It was like a concrete pitch. That wasn't great, even though the atmosphere was really good. There are some really good stadiums now in the MLS. I've got to say, I do like playing in the majority. I'd say maybe Dallas is one that always seems a little bit more quieter, and the heat there is just. I've played there the last 3 seasons on July 4th, which is honestly it's just so hot. So I'd say that probably Dallas is one that probably springs to mind because of the heat. I love like the Cincinnati. There's Columbus type stadiums, those tight stadiums. Providence Park is obviously a special stadium to play at as well.
Well done for getting that Seattle. Well done for getting that Seattle jab in, man. I like that.
Yeah, come on. We could have seen that coming.
Your fans will respect it.
Yeah. Just you got to keep fanning the flames. Fanning the flames. Yeah. That's what we do.
Dax is still sunburned, by the way, from starting his career in Dallas.
I have done a Dallas
right now,
4th of July game.
I saw Dax in Orlando last week, and I thought that's the last place that Dax would want to be is in Orlando. No,
I'm moving back there. That's going to be home. I'm born and raised there. I survived there as a child. Lots of sunscreen. I need a sunscreen deal. Okay, so I'm going to talk to my agent about that.
Nice.
All right, let's send it to Brad the Lad, who says, Phil, you are actually my hero. I am a Minnesota United fan, but my question for you is, did Inter Milan ever come calling for your services?
Into Miami?
Inter Milan.
Inter Milan.
The first Inter.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Cool. And then one more. Yeah, go ahead, Dax.
I just have a fun one for you, because I know that you were the assistant to your brother Gary over in Spain. When are we going to get Gary over to a game in Portland? Have you talked to him about this? I was on the It's Called Soccer podcast with him, and he kept asking me about Portland, this and that. And I said, well, why don't you come on over here and see it for yourself?
He said he's going to come out in August to a game. So that would be nice. It's I think he would love it out here. I honestly do. I think I look at him at this moment in time. He's doing a few things in the American market. He's trying to earn some money for when the World Cup comes. I think he's trying to get his name out here when the World Cup comes. But it'd be nice for him to come to a game. The owner always asks, "When's your brother coming? When's the boys coming?" So
Phil, he's probably flying on Never Happening Airlines. My dad's got the same one. He uses the same company.
Yeah, I'd like him just to drop me a text. Never mind.
Just shout me.
Yeah, you know me.
Nerdy Soccer Guy says, Phil, and this kind of goes off what we were talking about off the top of the show, so maybe you can get a little wild here for us. Are you planning to bring anyone in during the transfer window? Does Phil Neville have a dream signing from all those big name free agents out there?
We're going to go big. We're going to go big.
Love that.
Breaking news. Here we go.
Yeah, look, I think we're in a situation at this moment in time where we're really, really happy with the roster that we've got. I do think we need a couple more players for us to compete. The season's long. I think last season taught us a lot. You need depth. You need quality. At this moment in time, Jonathan Rodriguez has been out injured a while. So we're going to need we're going to need goals in the team. Me and Ned, the GM, and Jack, the technical director, and the owner, we're working every single day to make sure that we're going to try and strengthen the team. I think the owner is fantastic here. He wants to go for it. He wants to compete. He's had MLS success here in the past, and he wants to bring success back to Portland. The fans, I think there's a special feeling in the town at this moment in time. I think they can smell something really exciting is happening with the young players that we've got, and the owner is really on board with trying to strengthen the team in the summer window. Teams that strengthened last year in the summer window went on to be successful, and we want to be part of that success. We have to compete, in the transfer market to make sure that we are competitive on the field.
I got one. Are you guys there? I'll hop in. I wanted to ask just about the Western Conference. It feels pretty open to me. And you mentioned coming out and competing. Vancouver, of course, have set the standard, but they put a lot into the beginning part of the season. There's going to be the usuals that tend to climb their way up. And San Diego's been an upstart, really fantastic beginning. But because it's open, does that add more impetus to try to go out and maybe make a run at things? Or do you agree with the assessment that the West is open compared to the East?
I think the West is really wide open. You look at Houston a month ago and you think, oh, they're out of it. But you knew with a little bit, they've invested in 3 or 4 really good players, and Ben obviously has got great experience. They're now in that playoff position. And, I think a couple of wins and a couple of defeats, you can be in 3rd and then you can be down to 7th or 8th. I think it's the tightest conference I've seen since I came to the MLS. There's not much difference between top and bottom, and there's normally 3 or 4 teams sort of like breaking through and breaking free, and I don't think I see that at this moment in time. San Jose have been probably, for me, one of the most exciting teams to watch this year. Bruce has gone in there, and the scoring goals are exciting, they're dangerous. You'd think that Galaxy now will probably start taking points off people now they've got the first win and they've got the quality that they've got. So I think it's one of those years where I think that you've just got to hang in there for as long as possible and try and get as close to the top 4, and then anything can happen. Hopefully the gap can be closed with Vancouver. And, I think last season we finished with, 48 points. That in previous seasons would have got us into the top sort of like 6, where last season there was clear standout. This year, maybe 48 points will get you into the top 7 because everyone's taking points off each other.
Phil, thanks for your time, man. You've been brilliant. Can we just get you out of here on one more question? I don't want to get you in trouble, but the Club World Cup is right around the corner. So we're going to have you start, bench, cut the 3 MLS teams in the Club World Cup.
I like this, Dax.
Based on who you think is going to do the best, who you think is going to go the furthest. And just a little caveat, Seattle is in a group with PSG and Atletico Madrid.
If you want to start there.
The Wi-Fi's gone down, Dax. No, I think Seattle. I'm going to go up to a couple of the Seattle games. They've got the toughest group. I mean, they've got the group of death. I think for them to come out of their group would be an absolute
miracle.
An incredible achievement. The teams that they play are high level teams. You saw PSG in the Champions League final, the phenomenal team. You'd think that Miami have the quality, the experience. I think experience is going to be important. They've obviously got, playing down in Florida. I think Miami have probably got the best probably opportunity to progress. Their group looks pretty tight. It looks like they've got some winnable games. You get out the group and you've got Messi in your team. I think, anything can happen. And I think on their day, what I would say about LAFC is in terms of I think they could set up. They've got a coach that's got experience, and they could set up in a way where they could play some like counter-attack football and cause some problems. But they're all playing some incredible teams. But I do think that my old team, Miami, have probably got the best route to get further in the competition from the MLS teams.
So you're saying start Miami, bench LAFC, cut Seattle.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he said.
We're translating.
I think that's what he said. If you said that, I'll agree with it. Yeah.
All right, Phil, before we say goodbye, one last question.
Question. There's been about 4 last questions.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
I know I'm not going to bother you with this, Phil. Another
It's
time.
okay. I mean, trading's over now anyway, so I miss
This is really important. I just wanted to know, David Beckham celebrated his 50th birthday last month, and I know you couldn't make it. You had a big game that Saturday night, and I just wanted to know if you sent him a gift.
Sir David, have you not been reading the news?
Is he a sir yet?
No,
is that happening?
I hope so. Yeah. Look, I was invited to all 3 parties, but I couldn't go to any of them. So you know, but I was invited. That was the good thing. I was still invited, even though he sacked me about 3 years ago. You know. All right, guys.
Cheers, Phil.
One last question. No. Okay.
No. Done.
Thanks, Phil.